last talk of the service meeting at Ministry School. And we're going to hear Tommy Tam with the final talk on the subject, what must one do to take refuge in the name of Jehovah, from Zephaniah 3 verse 12.
Have you ever have to take a refuge from a rainstorm or a hailstorm under a bridge? But it provides little protection if hit by tornadoes or hurricane. A different type of storm is approaching. Let's read Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 14 and 18 together to see how it affects all mankind. Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 14 and 18. The great day of Jehovah is near, it is near, and there is a hurrying of it very much. The sound of the day of Jehovah is bitter. Their mighty man is letting out a cry. And 18. Neither their silver nor their gold will be able to deliver them in the day of Jehovah's fury. But by the fire of Sheol, the whole earth will be devoured, because he will make an extermination, indeed a terrible one, of all the inhabitants of the earth. So notice it foretells the day of Jehovah's fury, at times of distress like nothing we ever experienced before. There will be a terrible extermination that will involve the entire earth. In view of this, will there be any survivors? Just turn over the next page with me to chapter 3, verse 12, and see. Zephaniah 3:12. And I shall certainly let remain in the midst of you people humble and lowly, and they will actually take refuge in the name of Jehovah. How God's people find refuge even now during this time to the end? We will find spiritual refuge by thinking upon God's name and by serving Him zealously. Romans 10:13 reads, everyone who calls on the name of Jehovah will be saved. There's a connection between calling on Jehovah's name and resulting salvation by Him. Honest-hearted people can see the difference between true Christians who are thinking upon His name and serving as a witness, and those mankind who are not serving Him. Still, the salvation available to us is not limited to finding spiritual refuge. Physical salvation is promised for God's people. We see indication of this in what happened in 66 CE. After the Roman army attacked Jerusalem, Jesus had foretold that the days of the tribulation would be cut short. When the Roman forces unexpectedly abandoned the siege of the city, which allowed some flesh, namely true Christians, to be saved, they were able to flee to city and find refuge in the mountains. God's servants will do the same today. However, this time it will not involve in actual fighting to a single geographic spot, for true Christians are located all around the globe. Still, as a people, the chosen one, and their loyal companions will physically survive the end of the apostate Christendom by taking refuge in Jehovah and its mountain-like organization. We find refuge in spiritual security enjoyed by God's people as a whole, through the faithful and discreet slaves and elders in the congregation. We are alerted to trends in the world that could damage that security. Also, the encouragement from faithful slaves to follow Jesus' command to preach the good news of the kingdom that will help people to take refuge in God's name. Today, people have to deal with insurmountable problems. Many look to imperfect man or hope for solution from spiritual institutions. No political state nor United Nations organization will fully solve mankind's problem. Soon, the figurative storm of Jehovah's Day will strike the earth. Human scheme will not able to provide protection. Both now and during the future development, God's people will find real security in their God, Jehovah. Let us read Proverbs 18:10 together. Proverbs 18:10, and take in mind this inspired assurance. Proverbs 18:10. The name of Jehovah is a strong tower. Into it the righteous runs and is given protection. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tommy, for looking after this part this evening. It's certainly an interesting topic you had tonight to speak about. And I noticed that before you got started, you made sure the mic was proper place, and you even had some visual contact before you started into your talk. And when you did, I thought your speech quality really came to the fore, because it's on page 157 in our ministry school book, Practical Value Made Clear. And it says there that we want to help our audience to see how this subject affects their lives and can be used by them in a beneficial way. Because if people don't see the practical value of what you're saying, they may tell you that they're not interested, or may tune you out mentally, allowing their minds to wander. So we need to help them see why and how what you're saying is of real benefit to them. So it says right in our book there that we want to, right from the beginning, help them see that this involves me, on page 158, right from the start. And I thought you did, including, it says using the Bible, because Bible counsel really touches their lives. And the verses in Zephaniah really helps us to see that this is going to affect me, because as you highlighted, that this storm from Jehovah is going to involve the entire earth, and a terrible extermination will result. And yet, as you brought out, there would be survivors. So how do we be survivors? Well, you explained really what taking refuge in the name of Jehovah really means. To think upon his name, to serve him zealously, calling upon his name, because as you brought out in the scripture, it's a strong tower. Serving him as a witness. He's not only going to be will not only enjoy a spiritual refuge now, but also a physical refuge in his day to come. So you brought out, follow his word and the channel that he uses, the faithful and discreet slave. So some really good points you brought out in explaining how we can take refuge in the name of Jehovah. So thank you very much for the presentation this evening. And for all who had assignments, we certainly appreciate all of your hard work that went into them, and the nervousness and everything else that goes along with it. And so that's going to conclude the Theocratic Ministry School, and now we'll call on Brother Wilson to lead us into the service meeting with the subject, Youths, what will you do with your life?